You are listening to Solyn's Body, Book 2 in the Klauden's Ring saga. Written by J.M. Paquette. Narrated by Mackie. Published by Horsemen Publishing, Inc. Copyright J.M. Paquette and 2021. All rights reserved. Trigger warning. This audiobook contains mentions of past sexual abuse, threat of rape, mention of past abortion, violence, gore. Dedication. To the best superhero a sidekick could have. Acknowledgements. So many others stood along the path as I wrote this book. This page is for them. I stand in awe of the greats who came before, in whose words and worlds I have wandered through many a long night. J.R.R. Tolkien for the mythology, Stephen King for the audacity, Diana Gabaldon for wittiness, Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman for the fantasy world, and all the others who have made me laugh and weep with their tales. I roll my D20 in honor of the role-playing games that allowed me to create so many characters, and to the DM who loved pool effects and gave my mage vampirism. I raise my mug of tea, thanks Lisa, to my fellow inkslingers, without whose steady encouragement I would never have gotten so far. I take my hat off to Nicole Dragonbeck, who not only creates amazing fantasy worlds, but translated my crazy crosshatches and chicken scratch marks into 2 delightful maps. Thanking my family goes without saying. Much appreciation to Remy, who gave Eve a bath while I was busy writing at night, to Eve, for making me put the laptop down and come play, to Nebby for making me pause to give some much-required petting, and to Graham, who always keeps my feet warm when he isn't yowling. And finally, thanks to Phil, for helping me work out the logistics and catching not only my anachronisms, but any double spaces after periods. Any mistakes are mine alone. Chapter 1. Hannah Tallerin was standing over her forge, eyes squinting against the waves of heat baking off the blade she worked, when the stranger opened the door to the smithy. Though her senses were by no means what they had been, she still had the uncanny reflexes of someone who spent lots of time barely dodging lethal blows, and so she turned as the door began to swing inside, her long limbs ready to react if the visitor proved dangerous. The turn was a bad idea, as the hammer in her right hand continued its arc of movement and connected with the second finger of her left hand, smashing the tip and sending a shriek of agony up her hand and into her arm. She cursed, dropped the hammer to the anvil with a clatter, and cradled the wounded hand against her chest as she completed her turn. A man had entered the smithy. He hovered in the shadowed front of the room, and Hannah's mortal eyes could only make out a sense of height, marred by stooped shoulders, the lump of a traveling bag, and a slow, measured step as he moved to one wall, examining the weapons hung there. When she saw that the newcomer wasn't intent on harming her, at least not outright, she relaxed a bit, but she couldn't ignore the little thrill that had been building in her chest as it was suddenly and distressingly dashed. "I've got to get out of here," she thought, remembering a time when she had been so thankful for a slow time like this, for days and weeks of mindless simplicity. She working away with the metal, Rory shaping the local farmers into serviceable soldiers, and the 2 of them carefully sharing the small bed each night. Safety, comfort, the regularity of a common life, and plenty of smashed fingers along the way, she thought bitterly, taking a cloth from her apron pocket and carefully wrapping the injured digit, blotting at the blood seeping from beneath the broken nail, remembering a time when blood meant something so much more. Now it only meant pain. The stranger hadn't approached the wooden counter that divided the customer area from the black-bellied forge, squat anvil, and large water barrel that took up her work area, and so Hannah ignored him for a time, allowing him to take in the plethora of short
Sample complete. Ready to continue?